Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for one of the more anticipated, confusing, just overall encapsulating full game breakdowns of the year. It is none other than Alperen Sengun, the 18-year-old MVP of the Turkish League, plays for Besiktas. He has been mocked all over the place from as high as 3, if you're John Hollinger of The Athletic. I think actually maybe 4. To all the way as down as maybe 20, 25. One of the more interesting debates kind of resides within him in terms of overall production versus fit in the modern NBA. I am Bobby Douglas. This is another 2021 NBA Draft Prospect full game video breakdown. Alperen Sengun, number 23 in the white, circling him right here. Let's go. I am super excited for this breakdown. I tried to watch this game back in May when I was initially starting to get back into scouting after the college season, and I am probably just as confused on him now as I was then. Issue number 1 with Alperen Sengun. This is not going to be a negative video, but this is the first thing that comes to mind, right? He is primarily a drop big. He's 6'10", so he's a little bit undersized for a true center, right? Doesn't really have that mobile, that lateral quickness that you'd want from somebody at his position. We'll get to the offensive strengths, which are really, really good in a minute, but right here you can see he's primarily a drop big. This allows this guy for, I think this is CBU, to just rise and fire over him. Sengun's late on the contest, open 3. Defensively, where does he play? You know what I mean? He's very physical. He's not afraid of contact. He embraces contact. That's all great. He has really good instincts and timing defensively, but the lateral quickness makes him very difficult to play in a switching-oriented defense. He's a prime candidate in my mind to kind of get played off the floor, but that is all irrelevant if the offense is as good as it can be. This is one of the most, again, just confusing overall prospects, I personally believe, in this draft class, just because, the numbers are all super encouraging, right? You can see him battling on the offensive glass right there. He averaged 19 points a game, 18.7 rebounds a game, around 3 assists per game, but he's a much better passer than those numbers suggest. 63% from the floor, around an 80% free throw shooter. The numbers are all there. Over a steal a game, over a block and a half per game. Just everything, just kind of numbers-wise, checks out really well for Sengun. But then again, it's what his most valuable skill is, which is around the basket offense, right? Which is posting up. That's probably one of the more little valued skills in the modern NBA. So it's he's so good at the worst possible thing to be good at, if that makes sense. And that's what makes him such a unique, such an interesting prospect in my view. We got him on the perimeter right here in that DHO again. He can run offense. He's a really good passer, can set good physical screens. He's used to playing in a physical Turkish league, right? And again, he just dominated in that. He's an MVP in that league, has great overall feel for the game. There are a lot of awesome things with Sengun, but I think my biggest worry with him right now is, let's see what he does here. So again, he's going to dribble the ball to the floor, move the ball up ahead, pretty good pass right on target, getting Besiktas back in their offense. They just can't get the layup. But kind of just the biggest issue, not issue, but I would just say just the overall, there is it's an internal civil war with Sengun, right? Because it's how much do we value production at the least valuable thing? You know what I mean? It's when we were talking to Kendall Kaut from Baylor, or not from Baylor, but he covers Baylor, and I was asking him hey man, weren't you ever worried about these teams that could offensive rebound really well against Baylor? And he said well, I'd almost have them be better at offensive rebounding because that's the thing that they struggle with the most regardless, so it almost doesn't matter as much because Baylor is going to lose the offensive glass battle. So it doesn't really matter, right? Because it doesn't matter if you beat them by 20 or 10. It's just kind of one of those things. And with Sengun, it's the same thing where it's how much value can you assign to the post-up? He has great footwork inside. Right here, good job just kind of playing that passing lane. Bad pass from this guy right here, but he's going to get his foot on the ball. And so, yeah, that's like going to be the internal debate. Whoever drafts him or whoever is even considering drafting him, I would say. So again, just a super overall confusing prospect. I've watched him probably in like 4 or 5, just like full, like I've spent probably as much time on him as any prospect, just in terms of trying to get a good feel for him, and I still can't get a great feel. Right here, doesn't take the greatest angle defensively. You can see he's trying to front this guy, obviously giving up a lot of size and strength. But again, kind of reaches, and it's going to be an easy layup. Like defensively, he's very good, and that gets him he's very good in terms of his instincts, so he'll get a lot of steals, he'll get a lot of blocks, but I think his upside on that end is a little bit limited, and again, he's not the most switchable guy. He's pretty slow-footed out on the perimeter, so, he can succeed in drop coverage, but we've seen what happens to drop coverage in the playoffs, right? Looks like we got a foul here, but this is where Sengun loves to operate in the post, using that footwork. You'll see him kind of do that 1-2 drop step, right? He's going to draw that foul. And again, that's where he really shines, just as a post operator, just trying to get and right there, you can kind of see, kind of forces this pass a little bit, but overall, I kind of like just the overall thought process here, trying to get Markel Johnson. I don't know what happened there. It might have been a deflection or he just mishandled the pass, but then again, the vision, I think, is all there. You can see Sengun, you're never going to have to worry about positioning with him, really, just because he knows where to be on the floor, right? Kind of just not really jumping in the air, not really giving the offense control of that possession. He's just kind of making himself big, and it ultimately leads to a turnover. So, yeah, just a lot of, really smart things he does. Sometimes I question whether or not he's totally locked in defensively all the time. Right there, good job kind of, this is where you want him to be in drop coverage, right? This guy didn't even set that screen. So this allowed the point guard to kind of stay attached. Sengun's going to kind of contest this shot late. And again, just getting a decent contest there, forcing that miss. We got a backdoor, another nice block there too from CDU. But I think in order for him to really be a viable NBA player, his offense is going to have to be so good, so dominant, that it almost negates his defensive limitations. I think that's kind of the biggest thing with him, because we know he's super, we got a foul here on Sengun, I think, kind of a little, it's kind of soft. We know he's super gifted in terms of his, his intelligence on the floor. He has great feel for the game, makes good decisions. Footwork, he's very fundamentally sound. His footwork is great. Finishing around the basket's awesome. Defensive instincts are there. But, overall, I worry about him getting played off the floor in a playoff game because he's just not switchable enough. And teams are going to exploit that defensively. Obviously, it wouldn't be that big of an issue, or I guess it would be still an issue, but he's not a guy that's super athletic vertically. He is undersized for a true big. And, it'll be interesting. I've seen a lot of different comparisons, even though there's really nobody that I really can see as a direct comp. I've seen the Jokic thing where he's just he's basically Jokic without the shooting, offensively, and then defensively, kind of similar issues as Jokic, but I think in that regard, we're underselling Jokic's vision, just overall passing ability. Sengun's really good, but I haven't really seen him in that type of offense yet, where he's kind of the focal point in terms of just being out on the perimeter and picking passes, finding cutters, things like that. I think he showed potential to do that, but that's yet to be seen if he can really lead a team in that way. And so that'll be just kind of an issue, not an issue, but just again, there are just so many. The numbers are so good with him, and it's just, it just happens to be the least convenient skill set for Sengun he probably has. And he's just really good at probably the worst thing to be good at in this modern NBA. Again, you can see him posting up, just so composed on the block, right? So he's going to draw the double in, and then it's immediate offhand one dribble with his right hand, right? Bounce pass to a shooter, and they're going to hit that three. That's the type of, just the overall vision of Sengun. He can draw that double in because he's such a dominant low post scorer that he just becomes almost the gravitational force of him, right? It's so much better. Right here, Again, you can see he's playing for being one pass away. Just look at how deep he's playing, right? And again, this is what questions me. Like, I'm not sure if he's always bought in defensively, just in terms of like, because he has to play such a big offensive role. Like, is he kind of just trying to like buy some energy defensively, right? So like right here, for example, he was one pass away, so he should be in denial position, right? But you can see he's basically parked in the lane, and it's going to be an easy shot. He doesn't really contest that either. That's going to be kind of an issue for him moving forward, right? He needs to be able to just kind of contain, or at least like kind of just, what's the word I'm looking for? Hold his own on the perimeter in some spots. Again, you could see him right there. Really, again, just simple stuff. He's really good at drawing fouls. He's smart. He's savvy. He can, manipulate defenders with his footwork. Right here, just gets that foul called on him, or against him, I should say. But it was before the shot. And here we go, Sengun again. Let's see what we got here. Again, he's going to set a ball screen, it looks like. Let's see what he does here. So again, getting that screen, he's a very good screener. And again, just the footwork, this is just remarkable. Like, these are the plays where you're just watching Sengun and you're just like, holy shit, this kid's going to be good, right? Just watch this in the short roll, right? Just watch the footwork. He's going to go spin, then he's going to attack this little, like, trap, right? And then just the up and under, slips through the defense, and he gets the and one with the offhand, mind you, too. So, again, just like, who even know? Like, that's just really, really impressive, right? Again, the up and under gets his defender in the air, slips through the crack, and finishes with that right hand. Really nice job from Sengun right there. And now we got a free throw for him coming up. I'm sorry, not his offhand. I think I've been saying his offhand when he's with his righty. He's a righty. But still, like, the touch is there. And we got, he misses that free throw, but they get the offensive rebound. It's going to be a turnover for Besiktas. And here we go. Sengun tried to get back, couldn't really manage it. Doesn't really have great end-to-end speed. From what I've noticed, he's not a guy that'll just like kind of like sprint down the floor and get you chased down blocks. We'll see what he does here. Again, kind of in that double stack position. They're going to set a pin down, it looks like. He's just going to be on the weak side, it looks like, chilling. And here we go. Here's Sengun. Late in the shot clock. Again, just simple reads that he's never going to mess up, right? And you can kind of just see, like, so watch him pass, right? And then he just kind of, like, almost commands attention. You could see this guy tried to pick off that pass before it got to Sengun, right? And he's so good at just kind of finding openings that this is an easy pass. Catches 31 sleeping. Easy 3-point shot for another assist for Sengun. In this game, he has 16 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists. So I picked a game like a little bit below his scoring average and kind of I wanted to highlight more his playmaking ability, right, in terms of passing the ball. And so I'm like, oh, okay, 6 assists. Like, he'll be doing a lot of things here. Good job boxing out his man right there on that rebound. Doesn't get the rebound, but, showing that physicality. And again, he's a guy who can, finish through contact. Not afraid of it. He plays in a very physical league, and he's willing to battle with grown men. Again, he's only 18 years old, but he plays like he's 25, 26, which I think is really impressive. And, again, he just holds his own in these really tough professional environments. Similar to Usman Garuba, but Sengun was literally like he was the focal point. Like right here, this is not normal, right? Like he'll get the rebound here and he's going to get it and go, right? He has a pretty decent handle, lumbering up the floor, and again, finding that corner shooter, bang. You know what I mean? So like in transition, out of the post, just everywhere you want him to do well, like offensively, he can do. He's missing that shot, but again, at 80% from the free throw line, I think there's hope there. He only shot like 20% from 3, but again, that was like maybe like 6 attempts on the year. Like he wasn't a 3-point shooter. They weren't really looking for that. But out of the post, he's just one of the better players. And obviously, if he can grab the ball like that in transition and run, that's something that I think is really going to help his NBA career a whole lot. We got, let's see. He's going to still be replays. This is like a FIBA game, so it's hard to like actually tell. Right there, good job walling up. Again, he does and this is what I mean, like, he's not the most athletic guy, but he understands kind of like the principle of verticality, right? Like right here, he's going straight up, just kind of using whatever length he has to kind of alter that shot, right? And he forces the miss right there. And we got 2 free throws coming up for Besiktas, it looks like. But, he's just a really overall smart player, which I think kind of helps him out too. Unbelievable feel for the game, especially for somebody who it would be in a lot of positions where he could easily get overwhelmed being so young, right? He has to face a lot of doubles in the post, right? A lot of physical defense, and a lot of guys are going to make a lot of mistakes. They're going to turn the ball over, they're going to force shots, things like that. But with Sengun, he just managed to keep his composure all year. Right there, decent job by Sengun. Wasn't really on the right side of him, so again, he kind of has to, front the post, but it's a bad pass, so it's going to go out of bounds. But just in terms of his overall composure on the basketball floor, it's really, really impressive, I think, at his age. And it's going to be weird, man. Like, we haven't seen a guy this productive coming out of a professional basketball league into the draft probably since Luka, if I'm going to be honest. And so, like, how much do we value that, Again, right there, just putting the guy in the spin cycle, the ball fake over the top. Like, he just commands so much respect and attention in the post. He's on a smaller guy, knows when to take advantage of matchups. And again, just spins around him. He's actually pretty graceful in the post, right? And you can see him finish with that dunk right there. We'll watch it again. Really incredible stuff. Here it is again. Just, again, the footwork, the drop steps, the spins, just everything is just so impressive. So fluid as well. We got Sengun here. Gonna shoot this free throw. Let's see what he does here. He was 4 of 8 from the line in this game, but that's not nearly... you can see he kind of rims out right there. A little bit of a low release point, maybe a little bit quick. But, again, 80% from the line, there is hope there. And even if he's not a good shooter, I think he brings so much offensively to your team that I think it almost doesn't matter. I think the biggest key with him is going to be on the defensive end in terms of how good of an NBA player he is. I know John Hollinger had him 4th overall on his big board. Not going to go that far with him, obviously. He's probably going to be late lottery or, like, definitely top 20, but kind of like that maybe, like, 13 to 19 range, I would say, with Sengun, right? Right there, kind of got doubled. It's going to be a Besiktas ball, and here we go. So we got Sengun again, top of the key. But for me, it's going to be like 13 to 19, I would say. And a very, like, highly regarded 13 to 19, I would say, as well. You sometimes get a lot of those guys who are in that range, but maybe not, like, top 20 prospects. You know what I mean? They're top 20 just kind of by default. But with Sengun, he's definitely a surefire, probably top 15 guy for me. Again, just like the feel for the game, the decision making, the passing, the footwork, the fundamentals, just everything you'd want offensively outside of the jumper, and kind of just like that, like break you down off the dribble type from the perimeter. But again, if that's not going to be his role, it almost doesn't matter. We got Besiktas ball here. And then defensively, it's just going to be like, okay, how much do you have to cover for him, given that he's probably going to be a drop big to start off, right? That's going to probably be like the biggest kind of concern. So I think kind of like, in terms of his ceiling, I think defense will kind of dictate how much playing time he gets offensively, right? Or it's that, or the offense just is so incredible that it doesn't really matter what he does defensively, right? Because it's not like he's going to hurt you in terms of, like, making stupid decisions, right? Right here, again, really pretty nice job just kind of, like, going up, right? Straight up. He's going to get the foul called on him there, but, just kind of a tough play. And we got, that was his second foul, I believe. And I think they're keeping him in, which is kind of, again, it kind of shows, like, a testament to how, like, trustworthy he is on the floor at 18 years old. There's 2 fouls in the first quarter, and they're just like, yeah, no, he's too important to us. We're going to keep him in. But really, no, there are 2 options, I think, for Sengun in terms of just kind of, like, I want to replay this. I want to see if there's any gravity here. So, again, you can kind of see, like, Sengun setting this ball screen. And, again, he sets decent screens right there. It's kind of a ghost screen, but good pass right there. Not much involving Sengun directly there, but no, there are really 2 paths, I would say, for Sengun to really succeed. Is either, he is very above average offensively, and thus becomes like, and he improves defensively, right? So he's kind of like a, probably like low level all-star, I would say, offensively, and then defensively he's probably slightly below average, right? Or he just becomes like this wizard on the offensive end, and then the defense doesn't matter, right? And so for me, like, I would say the first outcome I outlined, right, where he's like kind of improves defensively, and then his offense is like pretty much reliable. I think that's probably the more likely one, but there is a world, I think, where he just goes and like lights the league on fire, on the offensive end, and then that basically renders the defense irrelevant because you're not going to take an MVP caliber offensive player off the floor, right? Again, right here, really nice job sealing his man. Again, he's not afraid to play physical. This is just to open the second quarter. Not afraid to play physical, getting to his spots, and again, the drop step, easy layup with his right hand. Just the footwork is just so impressive with Sengun. He's going to make defenses pay regardless, and that's just something that's really, really just overall just unique about his game. And again, like I said it before, like it's tough for me to evaluate a guy like him because he's so productive. Right here, same thing. Is he going to get again? Same thing, right? He's just going to get the ball right here, right? And then he's just going to bully this guy. And again, he's so composed. He has this guy. He had like a second defender come over trying to like swat the ball away from him. Doesn't matter. He just takes his time, but he's quick. You know what I mean? He's just very in control. And again, if they're going to double him and he doesn't want to shoot it, he can just pass it out to an open shooter because he has that vision. That's just something that's really, really, I personally think, just important for his total offensive game. We're going to see him roll to the basket. Another pick and roll right here. Not much going on there. And here comes CBU. Alley-oop. That's not going to work. And we got a foul here. So yeah, it'll be, again, it's going to be just like a very interesting fit. Like how much of a leash do teams give him on the offensive end? Like how much do they play him? How much do they utilize him? Because I feel like to get the most out of him, you kind of have to treat him like, not obviously as heavily used, but like kind of like a Jokic, right? Because he's so good at kind of like passing out of the post, right? Maybe you could try and get him to be like a 16-point-a-game guy his rookie year, because I think he is actually going to be in that contending group for Rookie of the Year, just because he has that pro experience. And like with rookies, it's kind of like you're kind of like relying on what you do well, and Sengun obviously is one of the better post finishers in the class. Right here, again, just kind of showing you that positional awareness. Again, not super quick, right? Kind of lumbers over there, but again, he's straight up. He's not fouling. With 2 fouls, by the way, he's confident enough to do that. And again, he forces that miss as well and gets a rebound. Again, defensively, he's not going to blow you away. He can be exploited on that end of the floor. But in the paint, within 15 feet, he's a very, very solid positional defender. That's right now all you can really ask for, I'd say. And so we'll see what happens here. Again, drop coverage. Not much going on there. But there is, I think, a world where he just becomes one of the better players in this class. There's a world that I'm not really sure is going to happen. That's why I'm obviously somewhat like kind of middle of the pack kind of, I would say. I think we got a technical foul here. And Sengun's actually going to be out for a little bit, I believe. Let me look. He's played the entire game so far. So, yeah, he's going to be in at 49. Let's see what we got. 49.09. But, like, in terms of, like, early in his career, I think he's going to be one of the more productive rookies. That's for sure. And then it just kind of becomes, like, how much is a team willing to use him offensively, given the fact that what he does is probably one of the least sought-after skills, But, again, there has been, like, basketball is cyclical, right? And I think Sengun kind of gives us a bridge to a larger discussion, kind of, like, on where basketball could be headed, right? Because, like, if we ask people in like 2012, right, is the league going to turn into like a 3-point shooting league? Is it going to be like primarily dominated by like switchable big men and all this stuff? Like we probably would have said, probably not. Like it would be hard to see coming, right? And like now we're asking like maybe we should be asking now in 2021, like, oh, hey, about a year like 2026, like, is the league going to be like a post-up league again? You know, we really don't know. Again, basketball is cyclical, and it's all about kind of creating advantages where other teams may lack in that department. And not every team's going to have an Alperen Sengun, right? You know, we talk about a lot of these guys like, you know, like, I don't know, like a Cameron Thomas. Yeah, maybe I'll use him. Yeah, like a Cameron Thomas or like a Jaden Springer. Like, yeah, okay, like, they all kind of are doing the same thing, right? They're like, you know, I'll use like Jaden Springer and Ayo Dosunmu, right? Two guys that are probably off-ball guards. Defense is probably more ahead of their offense, right? So, like, how many of those guys are there going to be in the league? Like, a shit ton, right? Obviously, we know that. There are a lot more guards coming through the pipeline than there are bigs. With Sengun, though, he's just so unique that he can kind of create these, one-way advantages that not every team will be able to counter right away. You know, I'm not going to go as far as to say he'll be like a game breaker, right? But I think that's something that he could kind of grow into in that kind of mold down the line. You know, and so it's just kind of an interesting, again, it's just an interesting discussion. I'm like, you know, like, how much do we value him given the fact that he does the least valuable thing on the floor, arguably, offensively? It's a very interesting discussion, I would say. And again, right here, just simple stuff. We wanted it a little bit. But again, you can see him battling in the post, trying to fight for position, right? And again, he kind of has those veteran moves where he's able to draw fouls and put defenders in disadvantageous positions. And again, he's going to draw that foul right here. He's going to go to the free throw line. Remember, he was 4 of 8 from the line in this game, but that's not... Obviously, he's a better free throw shooter than that. Right there, he's going to make that one, and then this one, we'll see what he does here. And again, he has pretty good rotation on the ball, I think. I think the form is pretty clean. I'd like to see him get it a little bit higher up in his release. And, you know, he's a guy that I think... If he could add that, like, turnaround post fadeaway, kind of like a Dirk Nowitzki type, right? Then all of a sudden you're talking about him as like, holy shit, this guy could be like an all-star, right? You know, that's just kind of like one of those things where, like, he's kind of almost a shot away from being just like a nearly unstoppable offensive, you know, weapon, which would be really, really exciting. But for me, it's just kind of like, okay, kind of tempering that offensive hype with his, you know, uninspiring defense, I would say. Just in terms of, like, I think he's a prime candidate, again, to be kind of played off the floor in these playoff games, right? Just given the position he plays, given the style defensively he plays. And that's kind of where I'm a little bit lower on him, probably the most. Just in that regard, right? We got a replay here. Let's see what happened here. Right, it's going to go right into the... Again, pretty good finish. Sengun was pretty vertical there, too. Not much he could have really done there. And we got, let's see what we got. Sengun going to set that ball screen and get back in the post maybe. Nope, he's going to set a pin down, and then now he's going to open up in the post. Doesn't matter, though. That shot's going to go in. I think that's James Blackman Jr. for Besiktas. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, someone please can correct me. But, yeah. Turnaround jumper. What happened here? What happened here? Okay, let's see. So it looks like they're in a zone almost, right? And this guy kind of missed his box out. Sengun wasn't really aware that he was there. Kind of a tough play for him to be stuck with. It looked like they were in a little bit of a zone there, though. We got the final 7 seconds of the first half here. Let's see what happens here. Is this going to be Joel Berry? It is. Oh, by the way, like, the guy who's going to be shooting free throws here, just the 2017 Final Four most outstanding player in Joel Berry. Just thought I'd leave that there. Joel Berry's a very solid player for North Carolina. Really liked him during his time there. Final 1.3, just a heave. Going to be short, and I will pause the first half video there. So yeah, that's Alperen Sengun's first half. This is like a Europe Cup game, so like, you know, not a Turkish League game. I couldn't find any of those online. But thanks to FIBA for getting this full game out there on the internet. So with that, I'll end the first half video. Again, I think we saw a lot of really nice things from Sengun offensively. His ability to pass, to find open teammates, and then obviously to command so much attention in the post and still finish through it, right? So I think that's really impressive. And again, it comes down to his defense in my view, just in terms of how valuable he'll be as an NBA player. But yeah, you know, overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, stay tuned for part 2. He'll drop some like highlight level passes in the second half that I know you guys won't want to miss. So Stick around for that, and we'll see you soon. Thanks so much, and have a great night. Bye.